Ready? Play.
What is Eala likely to do here against Kostyuk?
Whoa, that's another really good first round match.
I'll be back in half a minute, but you can talk about it.
Yeah. So obviously Eala right now is one of the most popular players just in terms of commanding social media attention, YouTube subscribers. But more than that, she's building on the clay. She's won a couple of matches in the 125. I wonder, and also Kostyuk should be very encouraged by the run she had in Madrid last week. She came the closest to beating Arina Sabalenka. And she could play Kazakina next. Honestly, I would pick Kostyuk. She's probably the favorite right now. Just, more battle tested on the clay, just a better mover overall in general. And I don't think Eala is quite ready to compete against a player like that right now in the clay court segment. I think if this was a hard court, I'd be probably giving her a bit better of a shot. But I'm very fascinated to see what happens there. Because Eala, even though she has a slow serve, it's not easy for opponents to just attack it and just finish her off and play clean tennis. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, it would be quite something if Kostyuk and Sabalenka play each other 2 weeks in a row. Still a long way. Like Marta is not seeded here, so that's a bit rough for her that she has to play an extra match just to get to the Sabalenka rematch. But personally, that's the matchup that I would be the most interested in of all these, of this eighth, let's say, right here.
In terms of Kostyuk, I guess Marta is just such a complete player that I wonder if Alex's kind of like unpleasant, tricky game can be that bothersome to her. But that might be kind of the key here. Of course, Alex is still very much untested at this level. Miami, she makes a big run, then runs into Iga. She loses that, but of course she's coming close again. So it would be great to see her play like 2 or 3 matches here and kind of know a little bit more about how she's going to be adapting to the tour, and also in these conditions, which probably aren't going to be too suitable for her. So yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting section for sure, but you've got a lot of players like Fernandez, Kostyuk, Kasatkina, who I think Sabalenka is then likely to beat in the potential 4th round. So likely in the end, this won't be like where we get to know that much about the rest of the draw. A bit stupid that they're using rankings pre-Madrid when the draw was held this Monday morning. Kostyuk should be seeded, says Joao. That is indeed not right. Yeah, I think on the ATP side they used the new rankings, right?
Yeah, they did. It's just like Indian Wells in Miami, then I guess, where they don't do that. Like,
yeah, but
for the women.
Yeah, but the draw was held on Sunday there, right? Not on Monday.
Yeah, so they should really be using this. Yeah, I think that's really unfortunate for Kostyuk. I was mentioning that when you were off the stream that she has to play another extra match, and I almost couldn't believe that she isn't seeded. Because I know in Madrid she was like 36, but obviously with the run there to the quarters, she would be seeded if they use this week's rankings.
Yeah, that's really wild that they're not doing that then, because obviously the rankings get updated like a few hours before the draw was made. It was noon Rome time, so yeah, I don't think that's ideal. But what can you do?
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play.
What is Eala likely to do here against Kostyuk?
Whoa, that's another really good first round match.
I'll be back in half a minute, but you can talk about it.
Yeah, so obviously Eala right now is one of the most popular players just in terms of commanding social media attention, YouTube subscribers. But more than that, she's building on the clay. She's won a couple of matches in the 125. I wonder, and also Kostyuk should be very encouraged by the run she had in Madrid last week. She came the closest to beating Arina Sabalenka. And she could play Kazakina next. Honestly, I would pick Kostyuk. She's probably the favorite right now. Just, more battle tested on the clay, just a better mover overall in general. And I don't think Eala is quite ready to compete against a player like that right now in the clay court segment. I think if this was
Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca Jorge, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am
Hi, yeah. I see nothing has changed on the Alex Eala front. She still brings in a lot of people to watch the streams, so that's obviously why we're delivering this one. It's also one of the best round one matches. We were expecting to have it a little bit earlier. Hopefully, more people will show up as it as it begins in the crowd. Because just before we started the stream, me and Brenner were just talking about the fact that basically nobody's there.
Yeah, and you think Pissarro played right before this. So you think about the Italians who were, out there supporting, and they probably left. So, but you're right. I mean, it is 9:45 local time. I mean, that's not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But Wednesday, first day on the men's side. And was that, Damien? Was that why they didn't use the updated rankings because they started on Tuesday? Or is that just a woman's thing in general and it didn't happen at?
No idea. I mean, Tuesday kind of has nothing to do with it because the draw was made on Monday. So
okay,
there's no reason to not to do it, I guess. Maybe they have some different rules than the ATP. But yeah, I'm not really sure. Indeed, Marta Kostyuk should have been seeded if the Madrid results were counted. Yes, Maya Joint is Aussie. Nurlan, I personally am not. We are going to be watching this one. This is, well, the penultimate match to start today. We still have Burian Choket against Luciano Darderi, so it's not the latest one. But yeah, some rain earlier today. Thankfully, looks like they have amazing lights, and we will be able to watch this one in its full glory. Or will it disappoint? We'll see. I mean, you guys probably know my opinion already. We played that clip. That it's a pretty tough one for Eala. Someone this all-rounded like Kostyuk. Also, conditions like in Rome probably less suitable to her game than Madrid.
Yeah, and I think you and Vanch talked about it in terms of I just think Eala still hasn't adjusted to these conditions. It's just still such a work in progress. And then on the other side, you have Kostyuk, who's, as you mentioned, just very complete, and is one of those players who's able to give the best players in the world a good run. And we saw that in Madrid, and obviously you come to a little bit different conditions, and that even favors her even more in this matchup. But obviously exciting to watch Eala. I feel like it's still one of those situations where you're not sure what you're going to get, and the serve speed still blows your mind, but it's tricky to deal with. A lot of spin on it, and we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely haven't kind of tested Alex properly since Miami. She had that big run.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, of course, she lost in the second round of a 1-5. Then Madrid, she drove Swiatek. And, that's amazing for her that she comes close again. But it's just not really allowing us to, I guess, see her against players like that on a regular basis. So this match, in a way, is also going to be pretty telling. How does she react to someone like Kostyuk? Someone who's not exactly Iga Świątek, someone who's not, I don't know, Jessica Pegula, whom she came close to beating in Miami, or Madison Keys, whom she beat, but somebody who's just a very solid part of the circuit for sure, still with a lot of potential to grow herself. But yeah, just really good, I guess, both offensively and defensively. And then, yeah, what does Eala do against that? That's going to be the question today. She is serving first, and the first return from Kostyuk was pretty scary.
Yeah, she jumped on that second. I am seeing the Love 30-point play out at the moment. Is that where you are?
I'm a little faster, but we'll handle it.
Yep. But Eala is on the board. And I was interested when we were kind of waiting to see the order of play today. I was assuming she would be a night match, but this is, I think, like the third premier stadium in Rome. So
Yeah, like it was supposed to be the fifth
grandstand.
match, but probably not necessarily at night, right? I mean, there
Right.
wasn't any like not before time there. Yeah. Well, you could make the case that it's the biggest women's match today. Well, I guess for the event it had to be Osaka Erani
Osaka,
actually. So,
right.
yeah. So the second biggest maybe
Mhm.
for the event, I would say, yeah. Sakari Bencic as well. Okay, so top three.
Yep. Okay, yeah. I'm seeing the Maya joint match now. Raducanu's serving to stay in this set.
Pretty long point that Eala won here. Somewhat promising for sure. I mean, she was able to spread the court, get Kostyuk to have to hit all these loopy shots to stay in.
Yeah. Peyton Stearns won, yeah.
I guess if you're someone like... Oh, you haven't? Oh, sorry. Earlier I thought you were like 1 point behind, but maybe it's like 3. But no, I guess with someone like Eala's game, like you kind of have to just instill doubt in your opponent. If Kostyuk is just like out here and she believes that she can finish off every ball, that she can hit all these aggressive returns and just get away with it, she probably will. But the moment I guess the pressure is on from Eala, the scoreboard is close, Kostyuk makes some errors, that's when you can see this match getting a lot more interesting. And I guess that's what happened in both the Świątek matches in a way.
Wow. Yeah, so I just finished the deuce point. Well done.
The deuce point. No, we're definitely not that far off then.
Yeah, but I think you make a good point in terms of like the confidence to go after these balls, because I feel like they are so tempting a lot of the times, but Eala seems to, be content grinding out of her corners.
Luke's shampoo is smelling an upset. Or Lux shampoo, I don't know. Peyton Stearns one, did I forget that one? Did she beat? I don't even remember now, to be honest, Ghosty. I mean, is that even today?
It was yesterday, Ghosty.
Yeah, I don't think it was today, right?
Yeah, and she's...
So I was just talking about the biggest women's matches of today. Maybe tomorrow she can be part of one of the biggest women's matches when she faces Anna Kalinskaya. And, well, might as well win that. Why not? Kalinskaya has been struggling with her health. Kind of not too regular for sure, so...
All right. Grinding away here. Break point for Kostyuk. Well, I mean, she's fighting balls off well. And that was a big first serve, or at least it seemed that way. All right. Yeah, good depth, good depth. You know, Kostyuk just has to stay patient here. Make Eala work. I just fear like her game style could be, taxing physically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, even this first game could be pretty nice for either player. Eala kind of getting that first foot down, and then just potentially causing the issues for Kostyuk that I mentioned earlier. That some of the, and you said it I think very well as well, that the short balls that some of these short balls that Eala is playing, the second serves, they're all very tempting, and you're either gonna go for them or you're not. And as long as you're confident, as long as you're like, believing in yourself, it seems kind of easy. But then the moment you can't do that anymore, then you're gonna be in trouble. And I guess running away with the match early on is a way to avoid that. Of course, Iga Świątek was not able to do it. The two occasions she played Eala and then went into that panic mode. Let's see what awaits Kostyuk today. I mean, so far she seems pretty confident, but also a couple of breakpoint saves already where Eala is able to spread the court a bit better and get these errors out of Marta.
Yeah. Joints up in the tiebreak. It's been a long match. That's kids off the line. Wow.
Yeah, sometimes she's not able to be very controlled when adding pace like that on the forehand.
Right.
But here, she just cleans the line with that one. That was absolutely spot on from Eala, so she saves the third breakpoint already.
Yeah, fifth deuce. Oh, wow. Amazing get from Kostyuk.
Yeah, that net court could have been so much more difficult. She makes it in time, and she makes it somewhat tricky for Eala to get the, to recover from there. So we're going to have a fourth breakpoint.
Yeah, I feel like Kostyuk, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say that she's underrated because it's kind of my opinion, but I just think, she's one of the better movers on the women's tour. Very quick. All right, fourth break point. Yeah, Maya joined with a 5-1 lead in the breaker. All right, yeah. Kostyuk way in on the second. Inside out forehand into the net. And yeah. It's annoying. It's annoying mentally as well. But
yeah, that's like the first sign of frustration for sure. From Kostyuk there after missing that return. Yeah. It's pretty nice for and any lefty really that's 90%. Well, I don't know what the exact number is, but let's say 80% of breakpoints are on the outside. So basically anytime you get that stronger, at least against righties, you get that stronger position. I don't know if it's particularly important against Kostyuk. I guess she has a very strong backhand, but nonetheless, it's the fifth breakpoint already, and she still hasn't taken one.
10 minutes in. All right, there it is. There she took that back in. Actually took it super low. And then the deep return from Eala. So Kostyuk does indeed break 10 minutes later.
Yeah, even though she obviously made it and won the point, you could see how that slider from Eala is pretty dangerous.
Right.
Kostyuk was really far out of the court by then. Luckily for her, she was able to produce that backhand. Not that close to the line, but strong, deep enough to get the early break. Now let's see if she can also keep building up this confidence. And well, Alex Eala does have a pretty mean return game, so let's see how impressive it will be today against Kostyuk.
And Joint does take the breaker. So we're head 3 there. And what's been a long match? Let's see.
Do I think me distancing myself from the WTA is categorically dangerous for me? What? I mean, if you mean that I'm watching less WTA than ATP, then that's not like a, that's not a plan. It's not like something I do by design. It's just what interests me. The Challenger Tour is obviously covers 80% of my tennis watching, so that's non-existent on the WTA circuit. I wonder if there was a proper like WTA Challenger Tour, would I be watching that more? I mean, there still wouldn't be enough hours in a day, I think. But Nurlan, I don't think of myself as someone categorically like how did you say that again? Distancing myself from the WTA. No, I mean, it's just my preferences are what they are.
Why isn't there a women's Challenger Tour?
I mean, there kind of is, it's just a different structure, right? I mean, you have the WTA 125s, which
125,
kind of function the same. And also you have the big ITFs, whereas obviously on the men's side, anything above an M25 is already covered by the ATP. So it's just different structures, really. I guess the frustrating part can be that WTA 125s are not really like streamable. You don't have that kind of platform. I mean, of course, you can find them on like shady sites, but you don't have that kind of platform like Challenger TV or live stream in the past. Or also like with ITFs right now, their website is just completely, just unusable. So it's a little tougher to follow, I suppose, but it's still more of a thing of not enough hours in a day rather than anything else. Ghosty, I would love to see Peyton Stearns winning Rome, but well, we're talking about something that would require, plenty of big upsets around and her to peak. I mean, she kind of has. I mean, I obviously she would like to peak sometime soon. She's defending the Rabat points next week. No, well, 2 weeks. Well, this was not a particularly memorable return game from Eala.
No.
I do think she will eventually be doing a little bit better, probably, but still, the Kostyuk first serve is quite a weapon as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And she was taking big hacks. But
so I guess now it's that game where you like really wanna get on the board and
exactly. Early double fault. That one was like more loopy. Yeah, Ghosty. I'm a huge Peyton Stearns fan. It will happen. Big hitter.
That's pretty good. Yes, Nurlan, I know Jakub Kiwior. He is a very important part of the Polish national team. Surprisingly decent at Arsenal as well. I think, well, definitely less of a, just like a, I don't know, how do you say it? Like a defender that also can do something with the ball. Let's just say that.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. PSG up 1-0. Do you support a club? All right. Well,
no, not really.
Yeah. Kostyuk, 2 break points here. Second serve, Kostyuk gonna be like 3 feet inside the baseline.
Yeah, double break, 2 on clay. I mean, it's still not a set, but Kostyuk definitely has that situation that I was talking about, where you kind of come out against the Eala, some of the early missiles, some of the early attacks go in, and then presumably you can kind of relax and just keep attacking, keep going at it, at least until the opening set is over. Let's see if she is able to like take that advantage and then make sure that that mental edge is still with her.
Right. And I feel like that first match in Miami between Iga and Eala, like Iga started to at least find a little bit of range at times, like breaking her almost consecutively. But I mean, I think it was a crazy number of unforced errors, and you just got to find that middle ground sometimes. But Kostyuk doing a good job. Every second serve is just deep and heavy. She's playing on her own terms.
Yeah, that is pretty funny, Sam, for sure. I don't support anything apparently, and the point is, what's the point? We're all gonna die. I don't know. I just never really developed any like connection with football clubs. I don't see why it would mean much to me whether PSG or Arsenal wins. I did like Olympique Lyon when I was like 6-7 years old. I was a big fan, but it all ended with that one lineup. Like it didn't extend to any any love for the club. It was just literally that group of players that I was a fan of. So yeah, right now I don't really support anybody. I mean, if I could have chosen, I probably would have said Barcelona just because of Szczęsny and Lewandowski. But that, of course, is gone after yesterday. So now it's really not a big deal for me. Well, let's see. Marta Kostyuk with some pretty inventive ideas here too. Maybe that's what that state of relaxation can give you.
Yeah. Spot on. Yeah, and obviously I think she's a little fired up to play another match. That was kind of it was a brutal loss to Sabalenka. She had her chances. That breaker was drama filled.
Was that the 2-breaker one or two tie breaks?
Yeah, I think it was. It was 2 breakers. Yeah, there was drama in the second one.
Or maybe it was Svitolina. I was in Estoril and I was kind of like barely paying attention, to be honest.
Like the rain was coming in and they continued on with the breaker, and then I think it was like 4-2. In Sabalenka, it started raining a little bit, and she just essentially stepped away. And Kostyuk's like, "How are you allowed to do this? Killing your momentum." And obviously there was some arguing. But then Kostyuk goes up 6-4 and 7-6. But
after that opening game, Kostyuk is kind of bullying Eala now.
Yeah.
Which again goes back to what we were saying earlier. That's, I think, with a style like Eala, playing against someone like Kostyuk, even that opening game is really important. Just not let the other player feel comfortable at all. And against Świątek, obviously, she managed to do that. Against Pegula, she managed to do that. Against Keys, Ostapenko. So far, not against Kostyuk, but it's the beauty of the tennis scoring system that for love is far from the match being over. Sometimes it's even far from the set being over.
Yeah, Kostyuk using that wide serve really well. I think her serve has improved a lot. Damian, tough day for Hamad Medjodovic. Otto shows up at these events sometimes. And I guess coming through qualities helped him.
I honestly have nothing to say. I mean, it's somewhat frustrating. I know it's not perfect conditions for Medjodovic, but he had the perfect conditions in Madrid and lost that 3-hour battle. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? Virtanen Musetti, pretty interesting match still.
Yeah, and then Echeverry, just like, I actually didn't even get a chance to watch the match, but I don't know. It's a bit disappointing from him.
Has there been any shift in the general style of play on the WTA in the last 10 years? I think so. I think power is just way more dominant. Like you basically see everybody having two strong shots. There's a lot of players who just come out and rip the ball. I think it is more of a power-oriented era. It's kind of tough to imagine someone like, let's go back in the day. Well, not even back in the day. 10 years ago, not looking too far. Agnieszka Radwańska right now, I don't think she's half as good as she was 10 years ago. That's just how tennis has developed. Not necessarily that it's positive or negative, but just I think the meta, quote unquote, has changed.
And Kostyuk essentially just playing solid from the ground. Eala going for, high shots over the high part of the net. So 3 more break points.
Maybe Iga Świątek should watch this match. The hitting on that love 30 point, right? Just not necessarily that powerful, but good pace, good depth, good control, good margin, and it works. Although, let's see, maybe Eala has more breakpoint saving left. In fact, on my screen at least, she's already had 2.
Yep.
Is it the worst conditions for Eala's game, as Nurlan, I think, said? Sure. I mean, slower, higher bouncing clay court, sure.
All right, let's see if she's got one more in her. Second serve. Kostyuk been pretty solid on them. As I mentioned, like not overhitting.
Why is it a bad condition for? Why are the conditions bad for Eala? Marcus says. I mean, yeah, because all of her balls are sitting up, right? She doesn't have too much natural power, depth, can't create pace that effectively. So she really likes to have that pop from the surface. And here there's nothing. So a lot of these shots just kind of feel like, they're tempting for Kostyuk to attack them. And she also doesn't slide that well on the clay yet. So it's kind of like Lerner Tien. I mean, you could literally say that they have similar games.
Yeah.
On clay, you're obviously going to be forced to generate a lot more power, depth, angle, everything yourself. And not having that surface help you out a little hurts some players. That said,
yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's a pretty sick volley
goodness.
that she found there on the stretch. I was a little scared for her because that get from Kostyuk, like it wasn't going to be amazing,
right?
But it seemed like Eala is pretty far from that volley. She still makes it, and it's like right on the line. I think she saved 8 out of 10 breakpoints. Well, still hasn't gotten a game though.
Yeah, but I feel like it's most apparent on the backhand wing. Like on the slick hard, just her ability to counterpunch was just insane, like over and over again. And you can see it here, like her cross-court backhand is just, middle, not much on it, almost bouncing into the strike zone, despite.
Yeah, she probably can produce some topspin on the forehand in the future. Maybe it will develop better, but yeah, sure. The ball just isn't as nasty. I mean, if you're Eala, all your game is basically about making the opponent uncomfortable. And so far, she's not able to do that to Marta Kostyuk, who takes that third break and will be serving for the bagel. 3 out of 11 breakpoints converted, but still, I mean, she's creating so many of them that eventually she's going to find it. And I guess even the last point was a good example. Eala playing that seemingly heavy lefty topspin crosscourt, and Kostyuk is just like on it with the counter. maybe that's also, part of Kostyuk's game and kind of how she's also a bit more of a threat to Eala because she doesn't have these backhand holes that some of the opponents will.
Yeah, and the Kostyuk backhand looking, very clean. Got a little update here. Raducanu about to go up. Just a break, though, for 3-love. Had some joint fans. And yeah, the number in here keeps climbing. More Eala fans pouring in. Not much to, celebrate right now, but, it's an experience.
Yeah, Raducanu 3 games to love up on in the third set on joint. Yastremska is like smashing Potapova off the court. I think all the matches have now started, so we have 6 more left in Rome. Of course, all of them, already in play, including Bujunčaukete Luciano Tarteri, which was the last one to begin. Let's see if Eala can avoid the bagel. And Marcus, I mean, sure, but I mean, on the women's side, it's not like you even have Monte Carlo, right? So, in a way, on the women's side, there wouldn't be a possibility to get a Mediterranean triple or something like that. But yeah.
And a huge grind of a set for Gabos. Takes it in a breaker.
Well, let's see. Maybe she can avoid that bagel. A couple of errors from Kostyuk's racket now.
Yep, Boo's playing.
Not rewarded for it, but I liked how she stepped into the court, took that backhand return a bit earlier. Maybe you can see some of the movement issues that she still has to perfect, though, with the way that she was recovering from that shot.
There it is, another serve out wide. This time an ace. What are your thoughts on the Boo match?
I mean, Darderi has been injured the last couple of weeks. Like, usually, Darderi is just 100 times better in conditions like this. But he was, he wasn't all right in Aix-en-Provence. He wasn't all right in Madrid. Obviously, in Madrid, he retired. In Aix-en-Provence, he lost a very quick match to Nacho Busa. So that's kind of like the big question. Well, there was that love 30. Things looked a bit promising, but once more the out wide serve gets Kostyuk an ace. You pointed that one out earlier as one that she's been particularly prolific at today, and that's indeed the case. So set point for Marta Kostyuk to get that bagel. And that's indeed what we're going to get. There was another net cord that if it went in, probably Kostyuk this time doesn't get there, unlike a few games ago. But no, it's a 6-love. So far she's calm, collected, just basically doing everything right, blasting the ball. In some cases, just doing well to extend as well and hit with good margin, not allow Eala any short ball, take advantage of the opportunities she gets. Yeah, I mean, Kostyuk has just been very comfortable so far. Now the question is whether Eala can add some pressure, and this is where that scoreboard thing that I mentioned earlier, the tennis system, that's where it helps, because we kind of have a bit of a soft reset ahead of the second set.
Yeah, I mean, I don't I don't know how much Eala can do. I don't know in terms of, staying in points, going a bit bigger when it's there, because I don't know. Right now, I just think she needs to play a little bit more tennis. Get a feel for it.
Alex and Clay. Alex what? Alex Eala? Yeah, I mean, I think I said it before already. I just don't think she's going to be that much of a factor on the tour in general. Like, if she has a Leila Fernandez-ish career, I think that would be very nice. I don't think you can really go that much higher with that sort of a style. Of course, there's so much time for her to develop. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's not much indication that her game will like change, that significantly. So for me, that Miami run was a bit of an outlier. Nonetheless, it would be good to see her, as a part of the tour. That's someone who adds variety. But yeah, on clay courts, it's much more difficult. Madrid, I think she's fine. But Rome, Roland Garros, it's not going to be easy. And I think Eala is also one of these players who, like, if she gets to play the top guys, she's going to do better against them than against just like random regular players on the circuit. I think for a while she was kind of struggling, to just make that breakthrough. And then she gets the Miami run. Obviously, she performs extremely well against some top players. And well, now it's her job to try to stay in. She's definitely going to be better on hard than on clay. I mean, that's pretty obvious.
Yep, and we're underway. CB said it's too early for that type of call. I mean,
unpopular opinions among all the Eala fans, probably shouldn't say it. That's why I tend to avoid Eala streams and Eala content, because I know I'm not going to be the most positive in regards to the rest of her career. But I didn't start watching Alex Eala in Miami. I started watching Alex Eala 4 or 5 years ago, and she was an amazing prospect at the time. But then her game just never really matured to a point where I would think, okay, yeah, that's a top player right there. And I'm not really sure she can do that from here.
And I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't consider this to be a particularly harsh statement. It's just my opinion. If it's wrong, it will be wrong, and I will sit here and say, "Oh no, actually, she's doing much better than I thought." It would be good for her to get that first game, obviously.
Yep.
We saw how quickly that first set got away from her when she lost that 10-minute battle with Kostyuk.
Yeah, the footwork is just, it's still so far away. Yeah, more people are joining. What time is it in the Philippines? That's interesting.
Should be pretty late at night, no?
Okay.
Or maybe even early in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it might even be a
like
tough
early.
time.
Could be, yeah. But they still make it. The commitment is admirable for sure. Well, breakpoint for Kostyuk here. What can Eala do? Well, I mean, that could be one of these points that kind of start building that potential doubt that you can have with your game. I mean, Kostyuk had Eala on the ropes here. Alex was struggling to recover from her forehand corner. And then Kostyuk just hits that drop shot into the net. I mean, there's nothing else there. So maybe she will get a little frustrated now, especially if she loses this game.
Yeah, just throws an absolute changeup in there. I mean, it's funny to say that, but Kostyuk was waiting on that for so long. And it's good depth and a huge forehand from Kostyuk, middle of the court.
Just laughing at the ghosty comment.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's something exciting about watching a live tank, Keen. I mean, maybe. If it's done by somebody like Bublik, then I guess, yeah, to your point, you kind of expect it and it's not as exciting anymore. I think probably one of the biggest like examples of it was that second set of the Wimbledon semi between Federer and Nadal, and Roger is just like, last 2 games, doesn't matter. I'm just gonna like go return basically on the service line, and yeah, just not give Rafa any rhythm. That probably was pretty fun indeed. And unexpected, but I don't know if Sakamoto tanking 0-6 set would actually fall into that category for me. Anyway, one more breakpoint for Marta Kostyuk. Will this be like a bit of a repeat of the first game of the first set? Ooh.
Wow. Yeah, she's locked in. She's just, on time. Confident.
This time I couldn't control myself with the spoiler for you, but
I know. But I didn't know what type of spoiler it was.
I knew I made it ambiguous at least, so it wasn't bad. But yeah, Marta Kostyuk does break, so 7 games in a row for her. Well, a few more like that, and it's good that this match started at 9:30 because it's not really been like PG-13 viewing. But despite all I said, I actually think coming back to matches like this is always possible for Eala, because she does have that kind of game where, yeah, you can just make the opponent uncomfortable. She's very reliant on this, on just making the opponent question their shots, and that you can actually do at any point.
Fair. Very fair.
So I guess in a way I never really consider her to be out of the match. Although this is close to it, obviously. I mean, before the match, it wasn't looking amazing for her.
Right.
Maybe if she wins the first game of the first set, that's
right.
kind of where a lot of the initial like impact that she had on Kostyuk was lost.
Yeah, I mean, any sort of scoreboard pressure is important here. She's going.
Can you become an immense talent? I mean, that's not really like Alex Eala related to me, but I don't think you can. I think you're either an immense talent or you're not. I mean, talent isn't really something you can develop, right?
No, you are gifted with talent.
Yeah.
And
was that reaction to Nurlan's comment?
Yes.
I thought so. Yeah, I think a gorilla would beat me and Brenner. I definitely do.
You could ask a follow-up question to that.
I did hear about this, yes. Tommy Paul and Steve Johnson. I don't remember when I heard about it, but I did read about it some time ago. Yeah. Like a couple of years ago already. Yeah. I think it was like US Open or something like that. Yeah.
US Open, yeah?
I hope I'm not misremembering things. Unless it was a different player that got drunk in doubles. But I think it was that, right? To like US Open years ago, I'm pretty sure. Tommy would have been super young at that point, and I'm not sure Steve Johnson was also drunk. Maybe he also was, but I know it was about Tommy, and yeah, he would have been super young. Of course, Steve would have been like prime of his career, really. And they lost like double bagel to somebody in
Yeah,
less,
all right.
way
I'm
less
reading
than
it.
an hour.
I just pulled it up. Hold on.
Is it US Open?
All right. Let's see. The storyline is it's on Reddit. Tommy Fall, he was refused a wild card because he played 2017 US doubles match drunk, losing 6-0, 6-0.
I think it's just Tommy, right? I don't think it's Steve as well. Although maybe if he wasn't drunk, he would have held once or something like that.
Yeah. Paul was so drunk he could not even recall which way to hold a racket.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I forgot that it happened, so thanks, Kid, for bringing it up. Because I totally forgot that the story existed. But when you said it, then yeah, a couple of years ago, I remember reading about it.
Yeah, it was with Steve Johnson. Yeah.
Some frustration here from Eala. I mean, 8 games lost in a row. The previous hold for Kostyuk was very easy, and now Alex slams this forehand error into the net. Well, followed by another forehand error, this time not into the net, but long. I hope we are not, well, for what it's worth, I hope that we are not going to be in double bagel territory here, but of course, we are like 67% of the way there.
That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, it said Stevie looked mortified after the match and gave away his rackets to like all the kids.
At tennis, I think we would probably be able to take on a gorilla. Although monkeys and maybe even gorilla, especially, I think they're one of the few, species that could probably be taught tennis, more or less.
Yep. And Raducanu serving for the match at 5-1.
Well, more breakpoints coming for Kostyuk. Eala is definitely going for it a little bit more. Kostyuk moving well to deter some of these shots.
All right, one saved.
Yeah, some of the bounces in this rally were definitely quite
Yeah.
funny. But in the end, Kostyuk adjusts well. And once more, you can see that the Eala defense of that forehand corner, on hard courts, she gets that ball back.
Right.
Which is funny because usually on clay, she have more time and space to do it. But yeah, she's still learning the ropes of this sort of surface. Anyway, 9 games in a row. 2 more holds and one break to get the double bagel for Kostyuk.
Let's see. Yeah, that inside out forehand is cooking for Kostyuk. And joint breaks Raducanu. Sorry for it. Still a long way to go. Volley nets is up. It's good. Potapova back on serve. Yeah, Goffey all to play doubles. That was a big storyline today.
Yeah, I feel like when John Silk saw it, I mean, his head was spinning. He was already thinking. So the first round, we have to do a watch along, 5 previews. Can't wait until Alex Eala and Joao Fonseca play mixed doubles
It's over. It's over.
The channel will just double its subscriber count in about 1 day.
Oh, we got to make that happen.
The belief seems to be just getting away from Eala right now. As I said earlier, she is kind of letting it loose a little bit, ripping a few balls more than earlier. But at the same time, now that last return, that just didn't look like she really thought she was going to make it.
Yeah, I mean, she's making the effort. I think definitely, testing out, getting to the net on clay. Has good hands.
Going a little bigger in returns. Gotta try something at this point. Besides, I mean, she provided she's not moving that well on the clay, then she kind of has to be more aggressive on return.
Right. Kostyuk's had all the answers today. I mean,
not to this aggressive return from Eala, but it's still 40-15.
Net stats today. I don't know. She had that volley back behind.
Net stats for Eala, I mean, she probably was there twice or thrice. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the sample size isn't big enough for this to be relevant. Like this previous one, for example, yeah, she lost the point, but she clearly just goes there because she doesn't have any ideas anymore. It's not something she would have usually been doing, right? It's just something that she does right now because she's a little frustrated and is willing to go for stuff that usually she's not. So I wouldn't blame her for losing that previous net point.
Right. I mean, I wonder how it. I guess it's an interesting feeling, but you're a pro. You got to go out and do your business. You just beat up on someone. But Nerlon brings up, was Kostyuk at her best last week in Madrid? Is that the best version of her that we've seen? I mean, it's definitely some of her better tennis. I think, she gave Sabalenka a really good run and probably should have at least had a set. It's obviously good signs.
Yeah,
Today
I think we've
feels like
seen a lot of good tennis from
Yeah.
Marta Kostyuk. Like
Right.
it's not definitely like a unanimously the best week she's ever had, but is it close to her peak game? Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
at least peak for the
100%.
time being.
Mhm.
Paolo Lorenzi, the Italian David Ferrer. I mean, no, don't compare Paolo Lorenzi to anyone. This, to just exceed expectations by this much, to develop so late in his career, it's not possible to compare him to anybody. He's just a legend of his own. How did Stakowski beat Federer? I mean, serve and volleyed, put the pressure on. That was 2013, the year when Roger switched his racket, had the back injury. Definitely wasn't the sharpest we've seen him. And in a match against the serve and volleyer, I guess you can always lose. There's virtually no rhythm.
All right, Damian. 2 game points.
That's the chance, yeah. I mean, I really do hope she avoids that double bagel. Of course, it's a scoreline that nobody really deserves to lose by, at least not at this level. If I was coming up to play against Marta Kostyuk or Alex Eala, I would absolutely deserve to lose with a double bagel. And I think here it is. This was close to a double fault, but I think she does just make it on the line, which makes it a couple of missed returns in a row from Kostyuk. Eala is on the board. Will it start a big comeback? Well, she will have to make some impact on the Kostyuk serve for the first time in this match.
And all right, Raducanu, round 2. Trying to serve out the match, 30-15. Dirty all now. Looks like Zumir is going to get that second set. Didn't go well for my my Sang stock, Damien. It was a weird match though. Bagel in the first.
Yeah, it feels like an opportunity for sure, considering Passaro hadn't played in a while since Buenos Aires, since qualifying for Buenos Aires, interestingly, and then pulling out before the main draw. He only played one match in Naples at the end of March. So definitely felt like an opportunity for Jason. I didn't really watch it, not too much of it anyway, so I'm not sure. Of course, Francesco was phenomenal in Rome last year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Turin. Yeah. Dimitrov, wasn't it going to be in the next round? I think it was, right? So also a somewhat winnable seed for either player.
Right.
Somewhat. Passaro did beat Dimitrov at the Australian Open before anybody joins with that information, but of course that was via retirement. So.
Yep.
Well, for one, in the second set, Kostyuk hasn't really struggled on serve whatsoever. I think other than that last game of the first set where she was off 30 down, then won 4 points. So we're still waiting on that. And of course, by this point, that will determine whether this match has legs or not. Feels
mean,
like Eala she's finding something with these backhand
Yeah,
returns,
I was
right?
gonna say that.
Yeah.
3 in a row, like heavy teeth, but it is. I mean, Fernando, he says Eala's playing like a practice wall. He's just been very solid. I feel like she likes the rhythm a lot. But yeah, good aggressive returning, and see what you can make of it.
Yeah, just can't win the rally if Kostyuk survives that pressure. But the returning is looking like, maybe there's something there for the future. And of course, not even for the future. I mean, she was returning like this in Miami, just not on clay. She's been able to cut into the ball, kind of like on hardcourt here on the second serve return. I guess the main difference is that unlike on hardcourt, Kostyuk has the time to recover from that.
Yep. I mean, she barely is, to your point. Again, like falling off her heels on the +1. Or just the return, sorry. And she apologized. Did you see that, Damien?
Yeah. Yeah, Marta slipped there or something like that. Still, was close to recovering, but Eala makes sure to close out the point. But Kostyuk eventually gets to 2 game points.
Yeah. And Raducanu in a deuce battle brings up match point. I feel like this is like an impressively empty arena tonight.
It is surprisingly empty, yes. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be like a huge Filipino contingent in Rome.
Right.
But I was surprised when I saw the early the early shot of the stadium. It's pre-11 p.m. and there's a lot of matches around the venue.
Yeah.
Is there an Italian playing right now? That's I mean Darderi, I guess, in the main court, but there must be some other people who are like, yeah, I want to watch some women's match.
Yeah,
and this one looks pretty exciting on paper. So
right.
At least in terms of let's see how this transpires, even if the favorite was pretty clear. And yeah, no other Italians playing right now. Anyway, Eala serving to stay in the match.
Yeah. I mean, that was impressive. It does take so much effort. But she's able to force a Kostyuk error, who is, looking to get out of that rhythm. Good mix of depth and pace there. Yeah, both wings have just been too much for Eala to handle today. Just kind of gets her on the move, and as we touched on all day, it's like that movement is just for me still so far away.
Especially compared to Kostyuk, who's recovering from all these defensive positions.
Exactly.
Staying alive in the point.
Right. And she's just getting moved around. But yeah, it's a very good point, Damien. Kostyuk goes to the drop shot. It's good enough. 2 match points. Yeah. Kostyuk rips a return. It goes long. You know, you could
I actually don't know, Ghosty. When are they choosing the Pope? Is it like within the next few days? No idea, to be honest. But yeah, another match point here.
And that's it. So 6-0, 6-1. Kostyuk just too good from the ground. You know, after Eala losing that first game of the match, it was a 10-minute game. You know, you kind of felt how important it was. And then, you know, credit to Eala, like, you know, trying different things. Didn't end up working out for her, but, you know, Kostyuk was just far too good today.
Yeah, I think in that preview clip we played at the very beginning, me and Vansh basically said that like Kostyuk was probably gonna just be too complete. There's not much of an angle that Eala can like look for playing against her. But I didn't think it was gonna be a 6-love 6-1. What we got today was just Kostyuk moving so much better on clay, especially than in comparison to Eala. Winning that opening game again, I think it had so much impact because you've got 10 minutes of action, and she never really has that feeling that Eala put Świątek into. She never has that panic. Like, I think Eala, because she has that unique game style, she kind of relies on that. She has to force her opponents to just be uncomfortable with her game. And it's tougher to do it on clay for her right now. It's also tougher to do it when the opponent starts well. And if you start with a 10-minute opening game and then hold so easily, then you're probably going to be feeling like, yeah, okay, I'm doing well. I can just keep doing what I'm doing and hit these like decent, aggressive returns, but not going all out. Like Świątek was making that mistake a lot against Eala in the 2 matches that they played. So I mean, in a way, Kostyuk was just far too good, far too also like the edge she had in the matchup was amazing. I wonder how this looks if Eala wins the first game. I think we definitely get at least like a 6-3, 6-3 or whatever, something much closer. I think if there is even that one moment when Kostyuk can feel, oh, maybe this isn't going to be so straightforward. But I think from, let's say, going 2-love up, she was just feeling so calm and so confident.
Right. And there was never really any scoreboard pressure to work off of. I don't think she saw a break point at all. So just never really got, enough rhythm going in her direction to, cause a dent today. But always
Eala isn't the best server, but that's probably the most telling. But well, she makes up for it with returning, but that's probably the most telling stat today, that she had to face 18 breakpoints and Kostyuk none.
Right. So just conditions that she'll need to continue to work at, and a lot of her game on hard court maybe gets exposed here, and still room. There's plenty of room, plenty of opportunity for her, and obviously it's great to have her in the scene. Obviously a tough draw, but that's part of it, and brings in a lot of fans. So thanks for everyone tuning in.
Yeah, Serundolo also had 18, but I think Ruud had some too in that
True.
match. That was
Very
a difference maker. If Serundolo had 18 breakpoints and Ruud had none, then Serundolo would have won the match. That's all I'm gonna say. And Kostyuk as well. I mean, we said that at the beginning. She should have been seeded here if they used the rankings after Madrid, right? So it was probably the toughest draw in the field, really. Like, if you're thinking of round 1 players, is Kostyuk just
Right.
the best? Probably. I wasn't thinking about it this way before, but I mean, probably the toughest round 1 draw that Eala literally could have gotten. Was she going to beat most of the players in the field? Personally, I don't think so, but it definitely didn't need to be like this. And, you know, it's experience, sure, but I guess it's better to get that experience like round 2 or round 3 after, you know, already getting some good reps, some good time on court. Either way, I mean, of course, it's really her, you know, after Miami, it's really the first time she's been in the top 100. She's able to play events like this. So it's still really all about reaping the rewards from that over the next few months and hopefully making sure that she can stay. Yeah, I mean, anything more really? It's a shame that the stream wasn't going to be this long, but thank you to everybody, of course, who joined. Sorry to the Eala fandom, but she will have better days than this.
Spot on. Thanks, Damien.
Oh, yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.